Women like you ought to know their place. Sit down, zip it, and don't make waves. Captain Susan Whitaker's voice cracked across the economy cabin of Flight 227 like a broken whip, loud enough for half the plane to freeze mid-motion. The white pilot's 4 silver stripes glinted under the LED lights as she glared down at a black woman in an oversized navy hoodie. Row 32C, middle seat, inconspicuous. Whitaker jabbed a manicured finger toward the back galley, contempt radiating from the gesture. The woman in the hoodie, Veronica Brooks, didn't blink. She didn't rise. Her calm brown eyes simply met Whitaker's pale blue ones with a steady curiosity that should have warned the captain. Instead, Whitaker huffed, spun on polished heels, and strode toward business class, certain the matter was settled. In exactly 40 seconds, Veronica would make a phone call. In 11 minutes, Susan Whitaker's 2-decade career at Solstice Air would be circling the drain, though not a soul in the cabin knew it. They only saw a quiet passenger in thrift store clothes, not the founder, majority owner, and chairwoman of the very airline that was carrying them from Atlanta to New York. Veronica's decision to disappear had taken shape months earlier, when customer score dashboards began flashing crimson. Complaints of condescension, delayed crews, and protected tyrants poured in, but what unsettled her most were insider tips about the Atlanta base. Bullying captains, vindictive pursers, vanishing empathy. Consultants promised surveys and sanitized reports. Her CEGO, Noah Delgado, begged to fly down and clean house with a flamethrower. Veronica preferred quiet truth. She booked herself seat 32C under the alias Vanessa Blake. No entourage, no hint of power. Just a 5'7" woman in cheap sneakers and a Braves cap. Dawn at Hartsfield-Jackson had been the usual carnival. Toddlers screaming, business travelers swiping at screens, gate display flickering. Veronica noted every frayed carpet thread and peeling Solstice logo. At gate E12 stood 2 agents, Jonas Miles and Carrie Boone, performing indifference with Broadway flair. They ignored an elderly black couple requesting wheelchair assistance, waved off a Latina mother asking about pre-boarding, and scrolled their phones while a Marine in uniform searched for a seat. Veronica's notes app filled quickly. 25 minutes past scheduled crew showtime. The flight team swaggered up the concourse. Whitaker leading, blonde bob lacquered into place. Her first officer, Grant Miller, trailing with forced laughter. And senior flight attendant Carol C.J. Jenkins, famed around the base for weaponized sarcasm. Anxious junior attendant Mia Zhang scurried behind, checking her tablet and flashing apologetic smiles that died under CJ's glare. Boarding began with the expected hierarchy worship. First, business, premium, then groups 2, 3, 4. Jonas barked orders. Carrie rolled her eyes. When the elderly couple attempted to wheel forward, Jonas ordered them back. Delta's gates that way, Pops. Wrong airline. The old man's cheeks burned. His wife silently wept. Veronica's jaw tightened, but she stayed in character. Inside the A3-2-1, CJ chatted with Whitaker about Atlanta trash who should just take Greyhound, while Mia tried to wedge diaper bags and crutches into overheads. When Veronica stepped aboard, CJ sniffed dramatically. Air freshener run must be tonight, she quipped to Whitaker, loud enough for half of first class. Veronica eased past them without comment, but noted that CG's badge displayed 70-plus customer commendations, every one of them from premium cabin travelers, none from coach. Seats grew narrower, air thicker. Row 32, center of economy misery, held 2 seatmates. At the window, Linus Crawford, a giant of a man whose shoulders swallowed his seat. At the aisle, Devin Pierce, a white college senior gripping the armrest, first flight jitters obvious. Veronica offered a gentle morning. We'll make it through together, which loosened Devin's death grip a millimeter. Takeoff passed smoothly. Devin exhaled. Veronica encouraged him with quiet facts about lift and thrust. 30 minutes in, CJ prowled the aisle with a half-empty beverage cart and a full load of contempt. She plunked ice water in Linus's lap, then lingered over Veronica. Want something, hoodie? Just water, thank you. CJ poured 3 ounces, shoved it over. Oops. A splash soaked Veronica's sleeve. CJ didn't bother pretending it was accidental. She hit the button on a tiny aerosol and misted lavender directly above the row. Gotta keep this section fresh, she announced. Passengers winced at the chemical burn. Veronica kept her eyes on CJ's, calm, unblinking. CJ stared back, uncomfortable for the first time all morning, then stomped forward. Mia appeared moments later, cheeks red. Ma'am, I'm so sorry, that wasn't right. Let me get towels. Not your fault, Veronica whispered, patting Mia's shaking hand. 40 minutes after takeoff, Whitaker left the cockpit. Pilots rarely roamed during cruise, but Susan loved being seen. She charmed business class with stories of rough Arctic crossings, then entered economy, swagger intact, until her gaze landed on Veronica's hoodie again. She paused. Comfortable. Quite, Veronica replied. Whitaker leaned closer. Economy passengers sometimes forget who's flying the jet. Don't start trouble. Trouble. Phones, complaints, TikToks, doesn't scare me. I've logged more hours than most of you have been alive. Passengers are. She lowered her voice. Self-loading cargo. The words landed like spit on the floor. A retired white teacher across the aisle, June Hayden, shot a disapproving glare. Mia, farther back, bit her lip. Whitaker strutted away, unaware that Sophia Lee, a Korean-American travel vlogger in row 29, had captured every syllable on her stabilized phone. Her live chat exploded. Mild bumps lit the seatbelt sign. First Officer Miller announced routine chop, but Whitaker strolled the aisle again, this time cradling an uncapped mug of scalding coffee. CJ shadowed her like a hype woman. They reached row 32 precisely as the jet lurched. Whitaker stumbled theatrically. The coffee geysered onto Veronica's lap. Steam curled from the denim. Devin yelped. Linus cursed. Whitaker straightened, stone-faced. Turbulence. Should have buckled up. No apology, no napkin. She smirked at CJ and turned. Devin leapt up, shoving napkins at Veronica. June unfastened, braving the aisle. Mia arrived with a first aid kit, voice trembling. Captain shouldn't have been out. Are you burned? Veronica flexed her fingers. The coffee hurt, but pride hurt more. I'll live. Sophia's camera was rolling. Her stream count rocketed past 150K, hashtags multiplying. Comments screamed for accountability. Dr. Nadine Alvarez, a Dominican trauma surgeon in seat 3A, marched back. Within seconds, she documented redness, identified superficial burns, and announced, this was assault, not turbulence. She dictated the precise time into her phone. Linus, the gentle giant, boomed across rows. I saw her aim. Dozens of hands shot up in solidarity. Mia wiped tears as CJ hissed from the galley. Quit babysitting, Jean. Veronica decided the test was over. She retrieved her second phone. The real one, dialed CO Noah Delgado. The exchange took 60 seconds. She described the gate abuse, CJ's spray, Whitaker's coffee, and the in-flight intimidation. Noah's final words were crisp. Landing crew, HR, security, press office, see you at the bridge. CJ noticed the second phone and panicked. She scurried to the cockpit. Moments later, Whitaker's voice cracked through PA. Ladies and gentlemen, descending shortly into JFK. Flight attendants, prepare cabin. Gone was the swagger. Her tone was flat steel. On final approach, the cabin buzzed. June drafted a written statement. Sophia narrated to 250,000 viewers. Dr. Alvarez typed a formal medical report. Devin squeezed Veronica's arm. Who are you? Veronica offered the softest smile. Someone who believes passengers deserve better. The wheels kissed runway 4L at 10:22 a.m. The jet braked, rolled, stopped short of the gate. Outside, 3 black Audis and a knot of dark-suited Solstice executives awaited. At their center stood Noah, 6'2", flanked by HR Director Gloria Patel and 2 Port Authority officers. Whitaker peeked through the cockpit window and blanched. CJ's knees buckled. Jet bridge locked. First through the door was Noah. He walked past first class, business, and stopped at row 32. Madam Chairwoman, are you injured? Whitaker's shriek from the galley sliced the air. Chair what? Veronica rose, pushed back her hood, and removed the Braves cap. Every camera flashed. Gasps rippled front to back as passengers recognized the billionaire from Forbes covers. Veronica faced the plane. My name is Veronica Brooks. I own Solstice Air. I spent the last 4 hours seeing my airline through your eyes. Her gaze locked on Whitaker, now advancing down the aisle, face sheet white. Captain Whitaker, Veronica said evenly. You addressed me earlier. Do you remember your exact words? Whitaker stammered. Miss Brooks, I didn't know. It was turbulence, I swear. And calling me cargo. Figurative. Stress. The union. Veronica raised a hand. The union protects against unfair firing. It does not shield bigotry, assault, or dereliction. Effective immediately, you are relieved of command and terminated pending board review. She turned. Miss Jenkins. CJ cried tears. I've got 23 years. I'm a single mom. You weaponized air freshener and humiliation. Security will escort you to HR. Officers stepped forward. CJ crumpled. Veronica looked at Mia. Miss Zhang, please assist these passengers off the aircraft. Tomorrow morning, report to headquarters. We need instructors who remember compassion. Mia's mouth fell open. Then she nodded fiercely. First Officer Grant Miller emerged slowly. Veronica studied him. Mr. Miller, you saw misconduct and said nothing. He swallowed. Yes, ma'am. I was afraid. Courage is a job requirement. Yet honesty counts. You'll give HR a full deposition. Your future here depends on it. He nodded, eyes damp. Noah addressed the cabin. If you witnessed any part of today's events, legal and customer care teams are waiting at gate 14. Your voices matter. Applause erupted, slow, rising, thunderous. June started it. Linus finished with a whoop that shook overhead bins. Wings of justice seldom flap quietly. Within hours, hashtag Flight 227 top Twitter trends. Sophia's stream hit 620K. Whitaker's union scrambled, but videos, doctor statements, and live chat logs shredded every defense. The captain lost her license within a month, her pension after arbitration, and now conducts simulator lessons in a windowless hangar outside Savannah. CJ works graveyard shifts at a discount call center, every call monitored for courtesy. Mia became Solstice's youngest director of cabin culture, rolling out the passenger dignity protocol industry-wide. Dr. Alvarez received perpetual first-class privileges, yet still volunteers in economy because, in her words, that's where the heartbeat is. June Hayden now leads customer advisory focus groups, flying free to meet former students nationwide. Devin aced his internship interview. Veronica personally mailed him 75,000 travel miles and a letter that said, "Fear is turbulence, but knowledge is lift." 6 months later, Veronica stood on a JFK auditorium stage before 1,000 Solstice employees, mechanics, agents, pilots in fresh uniforms. She wore no blazer, just a navy sweater and denim that still bore a faint coffee shadow she refused to bleach. "I boarded as Vanessa Blake and left as Veronica Brooks," she began. "Along the way I saw the worst of power and the best of people." Captain Whitaker believed stripes made her untouchable. CJ thought sarcasm was service. But a teacher, a doctor, an anxious student, a junior attendant, and thousands of strangers on a live stream reminded the world, and me, what real power is: calm truth and shared dignity. She scanned the room. Our new standard is simple. Every seat contains a story, and every story deserves respect. The next traveler you meet could be a billionaire, or a barista, or both at different times of life. Treat them like you treat yourself on your hardest day. Do that and Solstice will soar higher than any stock chart. Thunderous applause followed her offstage. Somewhere in the balcony, Mia wiped a tear, June pumped a fist, and Noah whispered, "Test passed, boss." Veronica Brooks smiled. Tests, she knew, rarely ended. There were always more flights, more people, more chances to prove kindness could fly at 35,000 feet. But Flight 227 had shown the world that respect has no dress code, and true authority never needs to shout.